Hello viewers, today we're going to talk about why everything is so expensive while I play some Star Wars in the background, because why not? More specifically, we're going to talk about inflation and how it sucks, because everything lately has just started to feel so expensive, so I thought I'd come on here and talk about it and hopefully make some sense for people. After the pandemic, governments around the world decided to print a lot of money. There's also been wars in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East as well. And big companies have realised that they can just bump up prices and people will still pay whatever they ask, because at the end of the day people need things. Everything just costs more and people make the same amount as they did just a few years ago. To explain it simply, inflation is the increase in prices for goods and service that you may pay for example food at the shop. Say you buy your bread for £1 and then you go back in a few weeks and buy some more, and then all of a sudden it's £3. That's what inflation is. Countries print money and it's essentially what causes inflation, and the reason they print so much money is because the money they make can be used to fix problems like maybe debt a country has, maybe improve consumer spending with liquidity, it could improve investment in the country, and many more things can come of it. With more money going around, there's more opportunity and there's more businesses around to invent and innovate, which can help countries get ahead. Things like technology is a great example of that. Companies like Apple and Microsoft, if they never took the risk to invest and innovate in their technology, then we'd never have them, and without them the world would probably be very, very different. Who knows what the world would be like if we never had, Windows operating systems or iPhones in everyone's pockets, because they were the first to do it. We had compact phones and we had good computers, but they were real innovators in that area. Streaming services are another good example. They're part of so many lives now, and they didn't used to exist. People happily spend, £10 a month on Netflix, another 10 for Spotify, stuff like that, and it adds up because there's so many different ones. Some people could easily spend £100 a month on subscriptions. Lots of people might not even know they're doing it. I don't think anyone has really noticed, but they're kind of replacing CDs and DVDs and hard physical media that you pay for, and instead of having a one-time purchase they keep a recurring customer for the long term, which makes them so much money. It makes you a lot poorer. If the customer doesn't end up paying for the subscription, then the customer doesn't get their media, whereas if you buy a DVD you own it forever. You don't have to continue a subscription or keep paying for it. Big corporations are constantly looking for more ways to improve margins and make more cash, and the problem is because they hold so much power these days, there's not really anything stopping them from doing whatever they like. Half-empty crisp packets is a very common example. They take crisps out and just fill them with air, and then they claim the air is used to make the shelf life improved, when in reality it's so they can save more money. And then they won't take the price down either. They'll either keep it the same or sometimes even go up to make the company more money. Chocolate's another good one. They've shrunk in size. I think lots of people have noticed smaller chocolate bars recently, and prices going up as well. Especially if you're here in the UK. If you're in the US, let me know what you think about sizes of food that you can buy and things going down and prices going up as well. Obviously that's the main issue. One of the main reasons it feels like things have got so much worse is because the wages haven't risen the same as the inflation. If the wages were to rise at the same amount as the inflation, then there wouldn't really be a problem, to be honest. It's just everything would be more expensive, but you could afford it, so it's fine. But, minimum wage here and in the US is no longer high enough. If you worked full time, you can't afford to buy, a simple house, not like a big house or anything, maybe just an apartment in the city that you live in. Lots of older people, boomers, say you should work harder and spend less, but it just doesn't work like that anymore. It's not as simple. Even if you did work full time really, really hard, that might not be enough money. Luxury goods don't actually increase in price the same way the essentials do. In the mainstream news, a lot of the time they like to talk about minimum wage hikes to make things look like they're getting better. They never mention their inflation rates, so if you put the increases in minimum wage next to the inflation rates, the minimum wage is actually going down because it has less purchasing power. If you want to see the inflation rates, you'll end up having to look them up yourself, because it's not something countries like to advertise that they've got very high inflation. And there's also no reason why they can't make up or twist the way they display the numbers to make them seem much better, which is just not good for anyone, really, is it? Since COVID, globalization has taken a massive turn. Everything's being shipped around the world, more packaging, changes, and there's a lot less shopping on high streets. You can even get groceries delivered to your house. You don't even have to go to the shops for that anymore if you don't want to. This is because companies can take advantage of cheap overseas labour and resources, like manufacturing can be outsourced from China and then shipped over to wherever you might be, or you could take advantage of, here in the UK we have a massive spike in unemployment, meaning companies can pay very little money for delivery drivers, which saves people money on having to go to shops, and saves companies money on having to buy shops because they're a physical piece of property they have to own or rent. The thing is, the cost of all the shipping, in addition all the trade wars, tariffs, lots of just political nonsense, makes things more expensive for, you would have thought, the people that are making the products and exporting them, but in reality the burden goes on to the consumer. In America, all the tariffs, the US people are actually paying the price, not China. China haven't really been affected, which is a pretty poor decision from America, but hey ho. And the president probably knew this anyway, but he just wanted to make more money for the government, likely to pay more salaries for the people higher up, and yeah, it's just how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. So hopefully the world leaders can, get into gear and sort themselves out so the economies can go back to normal. And yeah, it's not particularly complicated. I think it's a combination of greed and political power struggles, etc. But regardless, I think it would be better off if the economies could go back to how they were. That would be better for everyone. And yeah, that's pretty much all for today. So thank you very much for watching.